What's good, everybody? It's your boy, the and we're back with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about players of the year in specific conferences. Not every conference, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I watch every single conference in women's college basketball, but the Power 5 conference, I don't remember what conference South Dakota State is in off the top of my head, but that one as well, because I think the player of the year from that conference will be from South Dakota State. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about which conference or what player will win the player of the year in each conference. I think the national player of the year is still up for debate. I'll have another video about that maybe this week or maybe next week. But I think Michaela Blakes is making it really, really tough to not pick her as the national player of the year. I'm just gonna be completely honest. But we'll get into that a little bit more as we get down to talking about National Player of the Years and we start to talk more about March Madness and things like that. So we're going to start with the ACC. I almost said the Atlantic Coast Conference. I don't know why I was about to say the whole thing out loud. Let me make sure I didn't pass South Dakota State. Okay, I did. I feel like they're in I don't know. They'll be at the top of the conference, so I'll see them. So, I won't say the easy answer, but I don't say casual either. The name that would first come to mind in the ACC is obviously Hannah Hidalgo. She plays for Notre Dame. They're 8-6 in conference play, which in some years could hurt a player, but I feel like this is a year where the numbers that she's putting up could very well still put her in that conversation. Now her efficiency hasn't been great, at least from the 3-point line. She's shooting 46% from the floor, 83 from the free throw line, and 22 from the 3-point line. But she's averaging 24 points, 5 assists, 5 steals. Yes, I said 5 steals. And she's really the only. I swear I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but she's really the only player on any given night that the team is worried about. Gino said it. Every coach. Jeff Walls has said it. Like, when you're playing Notre Dame, at least this season, you have to cut off the head of the snake. And if you can slow down Hannah Hidalgo, you can slow down the rest of the team. If she's confident in playing at a high level, then the rest of the players have a really good chance of doing so. So she obviously has a case, numbers-wise, impact-wise, if you want to look at it like that. She obviously, without her on this team, it looks I don't even know if they have a conference win. So obviously she's in the conversation. I would say probably top 2 to 3. I don't think there's a player for Louisville that stands out enough to really be in the conversation, even though they're 14-1 in conference play and they are a top 10 team. I don't think there's a player on their team that's just like, oh, yep, I'm the best player on this team, and, I'm a conference player of the year. No, I think there's going to be a lot of players that are on the all-conference team, but I don't think there's a player necessarily that's going to be is going to be a player of the year. I think it's between Toby Fournier and Hannah Hidalgo. I think Toby Fournier has done a great job helping Duke get back to what they were in the past years. They were 3-6 when they started conference play. They haven't lost since that started. And she's averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, shooting 54% from the floor, 52 from the free throw line, and 30 from 3. She's also averaging 2 blocks. So one of the best defenses in the country. She's, the anchor of. She's, putting up 17 points a game, which is 6 more points than anybody else on her team, on average at least. And yeah, man, she just brings so much to the table, and I think their team is so balanced on both sides of the floor. Her being out there just puts them at a different level, especially when she's playing at a high level. I know they won yesterday against North Carolina, and she wasn't necessarily playing her greatest, but I think night in, night out, she proves that she's one of the best players in the country and one of the best players in the conference. NC State, I guess there's a conversation for like Camille Pierre. She's been playing really well, but I think if it's not going to go to Toby Fournier due to like how good they've been in the conference, I think it goes to Hannah Hidalgo. I don't think anybody else has the numbers to keep up or really match up, or not match up, but like have the argument. Big 12, this was close for a while. It was between Audie Crooks, Olivia Miles, Talia Scott. I think, actually, I think it's still up in the air for Talia Scott and Olivia Miles. I think some of the games that'll happen down the stretch, I think, will play a big part. Let me see. TCU. Okay, so TCU and Baylor do play again. Now, I will say, they played Baylor on Thursday, and she gave them 40. Olivia Miles scored 40. So that is a big, push for her getting that Big 12 Player of the Year. But they play again March 1st. If Talia Scott can turn around and have one of those, Talia Scott type of games, maybe she, snatches it. But I think as of right now, barring something crazy happening, I think Olivia Miles is the Player of the Year, or not, I was supposed to say National Player of the Year, Big 12 Player of the Year. She's averaging 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 50% from the floor, 84 from 3 and 36, or 84 from the free throw line and 36 from 3. And if you would have told me 3 years ago that Olivia Miles would be shooting well from the 3-point line, I probably would have told you were crazy. Her freshman season, she shot 10%. Second season, she shot 27. Third season, she shot 22. And then last year, she shot 40. And this year, she shot 36. Even her free throws her freshman year were bad. She shot 46% from the free throw line. She got better. She moved all the way up to 67. Then to 76, 79, and now 84. So she's improved her shooting every single season. So I think that's a big indicator of what she could do in the WNBA. I was the first year that I mentioned. She only played 6 games that year, so I wouldn't use that too much against her. Because she came. I just remember she enrolled early and played early at Notre Dame. So I'm not really holding that against her. I think the year that she actually played a full season was her real freshman season. Let me look at Talia Scott's numbers really quick. She's averaging 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 41, 89, and 35 splits. Yeah, I think that goes to. I think when you have a player, and a lot of times it does come down to numbers, but I think it comes down to impact too. And that's not to say that TCU wasn't good last year, because I think they were an Elite 8 team last year, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously they were good. They had Haley Van Lith and were able to, get to a Final Four, to an Elite 8. And wait, did they make the Final Four last year? Let me look this up real quick, because this is bugging me, because I feel like women's basketball tournament 2025. I feel like we had a conversation. I say we, I mean me and Bryce, on our podcast at the time about Haley Van Lith and her accolades. Okay. I don't think it's gonna. Oh my goodness. I could have just looked up TCU's. This is taking way too long. I might edit this out if I remember. Women's basketball 2025. All right. They finished 34-4, most wins in school history. Automatic bid to the NCAA tournament as a 2 seed. They advanced to Sweet 16 for the first time, defeating Fairleigh Dickinson and Louisville before losing to Texas in the Elite 8. Okay, so they did lose in the Elite 8. Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't talking out of my behind. But yeah, I think TCU bringing in Olivia and then playing at the level that they've played at this year, I think that is a big indicator of how good she is and just how valuable she is as a point guard on your team. I think Audie Crook still has a conversation. I don't know what their schedule looks like to end the season. They play Arizona State, TCU, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. So, at the very least, that TCU game, could be a moment where she, I don't want to say stamps, but keeps her name in that hat and just gives people a little bit more to think about. I think the loss, like the 4 straight losses that they had, hurts her in this conversation, especially with them also being Uh, 8-6. It'd be a similar conversation to what we said about Hannah Hidalgo, but I would argue, well, I wouldn't. It's not even an argument. Audie Crooks has more talent around her than Hannah Hidalgo does. Obviously, Addie Brown got hurt, and that's really when the losing streak started and when the struggle started. But I think it'll go to Olivia Miles. Big East Player of the Year. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, this is easy." I still don't know who's been more. I don't want to say more valuable. I think Sarah Strong is the most valuable player in the country, but I don't think AZ Fudd has done anything to not make you believe that she's also maybe the best player in the country. Like, it's really hard. Like, obviously, when you look at the numbers, Sarah Strong averages 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, and almost 2 blocks, leading the team in all those categories. So when you look at it like that, obviously it would go to her. But when you also look at AZ Fudd and what she's been doing, averaging 17 points a game, 3 assists, 2 steals, almost 2.5 steals, and shooting 49% from the floor, 95% from the free throw line, and then 46% from 3. There is a conversation there. Obviously, I think it'll go to Sarah Strong because she's probably, I don't want to say she's the best player in the country, but I do think there's a conversation of like which player. What am I trying to say here? I think depending on the night, either player can be the best player on the team. And I don't know if that hurt. Obviously, in the Big East conversation, Big East Player of the Year conversation, it doesn't hurt them. But I don't know if that hurts them in the National Player of the Year conversation. But that's something that we'll talk about as we get. But I'm looking at in their bigger games this season who was the highest point scorer. Now that doesn't always mean they're the best player on the court or they were the best player in that game. It's just what I'm looking at this moment. So Louisville, Sarah Strong. Florida State, obviously Florida State didn't turn out to be what they were in years prior. AZ Fudd led the game. Sarah Strong, the game against Ohio State was like, oh my gosh, she's the best player in the country by far. I remember tweeting that. And then the next game was the Michigan game where AZ Fudd scored 31 and had a great defensive performance on Side of the Swords for most of that game. So that's what I'm talking. That's what I mean. Like from game to game, it's like I go from Sarah Strong's best player in the league, best player in the country, not even debatable, and then AZ Fudd comes out and drops 31, but Sarah Strong also got 20 rebounds in that game. Utah isn't as good as they were before AZ Fudd led them in scoring that game. USC, AZ Fudd was the leader in scoring. Iowa, AZ Fudd was the leader in scoring. Sarah Strong has led them in scoring for most of Big East play. Against Seton Hall, St. John's, Creighton, Villanova. Their game against Notre Dame, Sarah Strong was the leader. Georgetown, Seton Hall, Xavier. Xavier was at Isabel. She had 10 threes. And then the Tennessee game was AZ Fudd. DePaul game, AZ Fudd. Butler, AZ Fudd. Isabel again against Creighton. And then Saturday was AZ Fudd against Marquette with 25. They don't have a big game the rest of the season. I mean, they're playing in the Big East. And that's not, and again, me saying AZ Fudd led the team in scoring this many times doesn't mean that she should be the Big East Player of the Year, that she's better than Sarah Strong. It's just looking at the numbers. I think it'll go to Sarah Strong. I think there's a chance they do a co. Like I don't know how many times they've done a co Player of the Year with somebody on the same team. I don't know if that's ever happened before actually. But hey, always time for a first, right? Then we got the Big Ten. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this one's that close. Like, you could argue Lauren Betts, and I love Lauren Betts. I love UCLA. I'm not mad at argument for Lauren Betts, but I think when you look at what Michigan has done and when you look at what Olivia Olson has done, I don't think there's really a debate about who the national player, who the Player of the Year is for the Big Ten. She's averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds, 2.6 assists, we'll round up 2 steals. 47, 79, 29 shooting splits. I just don't like if you don't think Olivia Olson is the Player of the Year for the Big Ten, I don't think you've watched enough Michigan games. And that's not to say that, oh, you don't watch games, you don't watch basketball. It's just like, when you watch Michigan, I love Silas Soares, love her, I really do. I think she's one of the best players in the country. I think Olivia Olson, when you watch Michigan, she's the player that like is just like, oh my goodness, like she stands out like defensively, offensively. She can guard multiple positions, play multiple positions offensively. She can get downhill, transition, post up, score, like anything you ask of her, she's capable of doing. She led the team in scoring against Notre Dame. Obviously, Silas Soares did against UConn, which that was a phenomenal game from Silas Soares. Their win over Syracuse, Taylor Delphos led them. Let's see, Oregon, Silas Soares, Washington, Silas Soares, Minnesota, Olson, Illinois, Olson, Vanderbilt was Kendall Dudley. Michigan State was Holloway, USC, Olson, Indiana, Olson, Nebraska, Swords, UCLA, Olson. They did lose that game. Northwestern, Olson, and then the most recent game against Michigan State was Silas Swords. Yeah, I think it's Olivia Olson, and that's not to say that Lauren Betts hasn't had a great season. I think this is the most balanced team that Lauren Betts has been on since she's been at UCLA. So she hasn't had to be 22 point, 11 rebound, 3 assists, stupid efficient Lauren Betts. Like, she can go out there and just be Lauren Betts, and that's enough. Jeloni Cambridge definitely has a case, though. I cannot sit here and act like Jeloni Cambridge doesn't have a case, because Ohio State didn't look great to start, and they really turned it around. I don't want to say turned it around because they've only lost 4 games, but the first little stretch didn't look great for them. Obviously, they lost to UConn. It was by a big margin, and obviously we see what they look like. And really, when you look at it, they haven't lost games that you're looking at and you're like, you shouldn't have lost to that team. Now, I do think the Iowa loss, where you lost by 21, was a bad loss. But I wouldn't say it was like a bad loss because of who you lost to. But Jeloni Cambridge has led their team in scoring in all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. They've played 28, and she's led the team in scoring in almost all of them. Led the team in assists in almost all of them. Led the team in rebounds a few times. She is the absolute engine. Like, it's very similar to Hannah Hidalgo. Like, when she's on, this team, I don't want to say can beat anybody, because I don't know if they have the talent around her to beat anybody in the country. But when she's on, they have the opportunity to make things very, very interesting. And when you have a player like her at the end of a game, anything can happen. She's averaging 22.8 points. We'll round out 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 51, 82, 33 shooting splits. She's been phenomenal. So it's between Olivia Olson and Jeloni Cambridge on the Big Ten. I think if you say it's Jeloni Cambridge, I'm not going to argue with you there. I'm trying to see if South Dakota State is in here somewhere. I know they got to be at the top of their conference. I just can't remember off the top of my head what conference they're in. Ivy League. Princeton is funny because they've won almost every game this season. I think they've only lost 3 games. Yeah, they've only lost 3 games, but 2 of them come to Columbia. It's just, I don't know. Those rivalry games are a little interesting. I think Riley Weiss could very well be the Ivy League Player of the Year. She's averaging 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 41, 81, 36 shooting splits. And then you have, for Princeton, you have, what the hell? Went back too far. For Princeton, you have multiple players, and they might be in another conversation of like, you have so much talent around that they may not get the numbers necessarily to, I don't want to say win the argument, but be to be like this is for sure the Player of the Year, because you have Madison St. Rose, Sky Belker, Ashley Chia, Olivia Hutcherson, like Fatima Tall. Like, you have so many good players around Well, I want to say around a certain player, because I don't think there's like a player that you're just like, all right, this is our best player every single night. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna get the player of the year just because they're so balanced and so put together, so well put together. Good Lord, what am I talking about, bro? Let's see. I know a lot of y'all are waiting for SEC. Fairfield. I said Fairfield instead of saying the conference. Metro Atlantic. Cade Lamoro. I don't know for sure. I couldn't tell you about the rest of the MAC. But if I had to guess, she would be the player of the year for that conference at least. Then we have there's a wherever Richmond is, we know who's winning that one. What the hell's Richmond? Good Lord. All right, there we go. Summit League. Duh. Fucking Summit League, of course. North Dakota State is undefeated in conference play. I don't think they're undefeated during the season. What am I looking at? I clicked on the wrong team. I'm tweaking. All right. I'll find that eventually. What am I doing, bro? South Dakota State. There we go. I clicked on South Dakota instead of South Dakota State. I started looking at the numbers. I'm like, Brooklyn Myers averages 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 63% from the field, 74% from the free throw line. I mean, but they haven't won as many. I mean, they're 10-2. South Dakota is 10-2, and then North Dakota. I don't know if it was North Dakota. I think it was North Dakota State was undefeated in conference play. So maybe one of the players from that team. I'm not gonna act like I watched all of those games and I'm just like super locked in. I love South Dakota State's team for some reason. Have for the last couple of years. So I try to watch them as much as possible, but it's not like I'm able to watch them every time they play. Where the hell is Richmond? Can't find Richmond, but here we go. We got South Carolina. We got the SEC. I think this one has worked itself out over the past couple of weeks. I think it's Michaela Blakes. I don't want to say and I'm not going to say it's not close, because I think Joyce Edwards, Madison Booker, they have a case. They 100% have a case. But I just don't think anyone in the SEC has been better than Michaela Blakes this year. I just don't. Michaela Blakes has been phenomenal. She's leading the country in scoring now, and she's been great in the big games, which she's done that her whole career. But her being at her best in the big games and them getting multiple big wins this year, I think just gives her an edge over other players, because as good as Joyce Edwards has been, South Carolina is still capable of winning if she doesn't play well. You know, same for Madison Booker. Who did they beat? They just beat somebody right before they lost to Vanderbilt, but I can't remember who it was. But they beat a team, and she was 1 of 6 in that game. Like, I don't think that Michaela Blakes can struggle in a game and they still win. And when I say that, I mean like a big game, like a ranked game. I don't think there's a game, or I don't think there's a situation where she could like really, really struggle, like a 1 of 6 struggle, foul out struggle, and they still win. I just don't. They're in the A10. Richmond is in the A10. How did I forget about that? They're in the A10. Maggie Dugan is player of the year in that conference. I mean, come on. But yeah, Joyce Edwards has been great. Maddie Booker has been great. I just don't think anyone has been better than Michaela Blakes. And I could argue that Michaela Blakes has been the best player in the country. Like, period. Like, I think I think she has a really good case of being a player of the year, like, period. She's in a conference where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams that are ranked. And they've lost 3 games. They beat Texas, they beat LSU, they beat Oklahoma, they beat Kentucky. Like, I don't see a world where she's not. You know, they beat Cal early in the season. She had 27, first game of the season. They played BYU. She had 27. They played Oregon State. She had 35. They played Virginia. She had 28. They played LSU. She had 32. Hit the big shots or big free throws to end the game, or hit the 3 and the free throws to really sink the game. She didn't lead the team in scoring against Michigan, but they still won that game. She had 38 against Mississippi State. She had 25 against Texas A&M. She had 23 against South Carolina, where the rest of her team completely struggled. She had 29 against Ole Miss in a loss. She had 30 against Florida. She had 37 against Kentucky, 34 against Oklahoma, 34 against Texas, and then 27 in their loss yesterday to Georgia. She has Kentucky again, Alabama, and Tennessee to end the season. Now, she scored 30 points in 4 of the last 5 games. Before yesterday, she scored 30 points in 4 straight games, and she was, a 3 away from doing it for 5. I think she has the case. I don't think Madison Booker has been consistent enough in the big games. And I feel like Joyce Edwards, as great as she's been, I think there's been games where they've won, definitely not despite her, but they've won without her having to be, like, best player on the floor. And I don't think there's been that many games, maybe 2 to 3 games where Michaela Blakes hasn't been the best player on the floor. Period. Yeah, it's Michaela Blakes. If you guys disagree, you disagree. You know, it is what it is. I'm not going to take anything personally unless you try to attack me and make it seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. But at that point, I probably just won't respond. I'll probably just look at it, laugh, and then go on about my day. But I do appreciate everybody that tunes in and listens. This ended up being much longer than I wanted it to be. It's almost 30 minutes. If you stay the entire time, I really appreciate it. If you stay the entire time, comment. What do I want you to comment? Comment peanut M&Ms. It's not. It seems random, but it's not, because I have peanut M&Ms looking at me. Yeah. If you made it this far, comment peanut M&Ms. Appreciate you guys for watching.